Hello everyone and welcome to Cornwall. In this video, I'm going to take you on an epic adventure through one of the most iconic and beautiful parts of the UK, from its coastlines to its towns, its history to its hidden gems, to bring you my ultimate guide to the 30 best things that you can do in Cornwall. So our Cornish adventure begins on the north coast at a place shrouded in Arthurian legend, because these dramatic castle ruins are said to be none other than the birthplace of King Arthur himself. As we walk across the impressive bridge here, we catch our first glimpse of the incredible Cornish coastlines well below us. Which, if you do brave the steep walk down to this beach, by the way, you will find the hidden Merlin's cave under the castle ruins. Moving south along the coast, and we arrive at Holywell Bay, a stunning beach home to the iconic Gull Rock, and yet another cave thrown in just for good measure. But I want to tell you about a walk that you can do around the headland here, because this is well known as a frequent spot for seals to come and rest. And on our visit, after around an hour of walking from the beach, we were lucky enough to see this. It's very windy and cold, as you can see from Ellie's attire.
That's, I think, the best seal sighting we've seen so far.
Next up is some proof that Cornwall is incredible even when the weather turns against you, which it semi-regularly does. This is the iconic St. Michael's Mount, a tidal island linked to the mainland by a causeway that you can walk across at low tide, or you can get a boat at high tide, which was very fun in the rough seas this day. But even in this quite literal storm that we were having, the castle and the gardens were fascinating, with the thick fog completely isolating us from the mainland and making us feel like we were on another world entirely. Now, for a truly wild and slightly lesser known coastal experience, head to Cape Cornwall. Located almost right at the tip of Cornwall, this is often overlooked in favour of the famous Land's End, which I'll come back to towards the end of the video, showing you a very unique and slightly eerie hidden gem too. Next up, and the last of the coastline chapter of this video, is my personal favourite. I saved the best to last. And this is Kynance Cove, sometimes home to serene turquoise waters, but on our visit the reckless waves were crashing violently against the enormous rock formations.
It doesn't come all the way, you just have to time it.
It really felt like nature's full power was on display this day. But this place is very close to Britain's most southerly point too, which is Lizard Point. And whilst you're here, as well as being Britain's most southerly person for a few seconds, you should also turn the corner to see the old lifeboat station that once operated here up until 1961, when it closed due to the hazardous launching conditions in this area, as well as seeing a few more seal friends, because we're in Cornwall after all.
I'm just becoming a seal spotter at this point.
Now it's time to swap Cornwall's dramatic coastlines for some charming towns, because there really are so many here. And the first that I want to mention, and most famous, is St. Ives. I'm going to mention this one very briefly because I actually have a full video on everything to do in this beautifully creative town, from its picturesque harbour to the Tate St. Ives art gallery, its narrow cobbled streets lined with independent shops, to some other really unique things that you can do when visiting. Let's head over to some smaller fishing villages now that you may not have heard of, beginning with Polperro. This place is really like stepping back in time, with its narrow streets, whitewashed cottages, and a harbour that actually allows you to walk right out to the dramatic rocks and soak up the serenity for just a little while. Before heading to our next stop, which just a little further down the coast is Charlestown. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site famous for its perfectly preserved Georgian harbour. It's got a selection of impressive tall ships which you can overlook as you grab a bite to eat and enjoy the sunset, if you are lucky enough to get one, of course. But one thing I did notice about Cornwall is the coastlines seem to almost break up the clouds, leaving a clear blue sky. So the evenings were quite often lovely and golden and warm. One more harbour town before we move on, and that is Padstow. The harbour here is always bursting with life. There are plenty of excellent restaurants, cafes and bakeries to find here. We made sure to visit one of those bakeries and pick up a Cornish pudding and put it in our bag to save for a very special location later in the video. Now, our final town stop of the video is one of the largest in Cornwall, and that is Falmouth. This vibrant port town has a rich history which is no better on show than in Pendennis Castle, a magnificent Tudor fortress built to defend the estuary here, alongside the other fortress that you can actually see very tiny off in the distance here. The views over the town are panoramic, and it really gives you such a great idea of the layout of this artistic town. Now it is time for another change of scenery as we move away from the built-up parts of Cornwall and into the relaxing inland gardens. Beginning with the most unique of them all, the Eden Project. It features two massive biomes housing a rainforest and a Mediterranean ecosystem. You learn so much as you explore, and this place really does an amazing job at reconnecting you with nature. And as well as the biomes, there are miles of walks around these stunning outdoor gardens too. And directly contrasting the future, this next stop is anchored firmly in the past. Because the story of these gardens is amazing. In the early 1900s, they were incredibly impressive. But when the First World War struck and many of the gardeners had to go off to fight, these gardens were abandoned. Throughout the 1990s though, the remains of them were rediscovered, and today the beautiful and romantic estate has been revived in all its prior glory. Our final garden stop in this video is Trelissick House. It has stunning views over the very same estuary as Pendennis Castle in Falmouth. The gardens are beautiful, with a wide variety of plants and woodland walks, and all centered around this house. And this house was actually owned at one point by the Daniel family, who were significant figures in Cornwall's tin and copper mining industry, which is actually the perfect segue into the next chapter of this video. Now, I'm sure you already know a little bit about Cornwall's mining heritage, because it's still so evident throughout the landscapes here. One of the most iconic examples is Botallack Mine, with the Crown's engine houses clinging to these coastal cliffs. If you feel like you recognize them, even though you haven't been there, I wouldn't be surprised, because they've actually been used as a set for a few film and TV projects. But look deeper than that and you'll catch a glimpse into the harsh realities of 19th century mining, from the holes in the buildings where machinery was once blown out, to the challenging lives of the miners themselves. And speaking of the lives of the miners, their story is no better on show than in Levant Mine. Just a short drive up the coast, this mine boasts the world's oldest Cornish steam winding engine, which is still working in its original location. It's surreal to see it still going strong, almost 200 years after its creation. If you do want to learn more about these lost mines of Cornwall, by the way, I do have a full video in which I tell you the amazing history of these buildings, which were once the beating heart of Cornwall. There's mushrooms growing under on the roof.
Whoa! But they're going upwards.
That's crazy, yeah? One more mine before we continue, and this one is on the St Agnes Heritage Coast, where Wheal Coates Tin Mine looks out over the beautiful coastlines below. Specifically spectacular in the evening sun, and although very cold on our visit in September, the walk to the headland here was something else. So now we are entering into the final chapter of the video, and I thought I really wanted to finish this off by showing you a few of the hidden places of Cornwall that you may not have considered or even be aware of, because I really think they deserve some love and attention, beginning with that one that I promised you earlier, just next to Land's End. This is the Mayon Cliff Shipwreck, a German cargo ship that ran aground here in 2003, and it still sits here to this very day, being slowly lost to the sea. Huh?
I might have gotten myself back.
Oh dear.
Next up, we're heading into the wilderness, walking through brambles and overgrown paths,
Oh, it's not enjoyable.
until we lay eyes on this large rock formation, rising dramatically from the otherwise flat landscape. And atop these rocks is this. People are not entirely sure what this was, with some suggesting it was an old chapel and others suggesting it was the house of an unknown hermit. But one thing's for sure, this place feels like it belongs in a fairy tale of some sort. Now, hidden within the hills of Cornwall, we can actually step even further back in time, at this incredibly well-preserved Iron Age village. Evidence shows this village dates back to around 200 BC, but its journey didn't stop there, because if you look closer, you'll notice things like these ruins, which don't seem to match the rest, and that's because, well, they don't. It's a real historically bustling location. Keeping up with the prehistoric theme now, with the Hurlers and Cheesewring. The former are 3 impressive Bronze Age stone circles, and the latter a bizarre stack of granite slabs formed, believe it or not, completely by natural erosion. Now we're getting towards the end of the video now, just 2 hidden gems I want to quickly mention, and the first is the beautiful Golitha Falls, a series of cascades and waterfalls along this ancient woodland walk, and Tregarus Wood, another woodland quite close by, which as you delve deeper you will see there's much more to than meets the eye, with more remains of Cornwall's mining industry spread throughout the woods. And that leads me to my final hidden gem of the video, which is perfect because we arrived here just as the sun began to set, and in perfect timing to avoid those pastries we bought all the way back in Padstow. Ellie has her favourite thing that she just can't wait to show you.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be my favorite thing. It's a Cornish pudding. Quite nice, actually. I recommend the Cornish pudding.
This stunning headland offers some of the best views across the Cornish coast. It's a fantastic spot for a relaxing coastal walk as you think about all the diverse spots that Cornwall has to offer and reminisce about the amazing time you never seem to fail to have when you visit the beautiful county of Cornwall. So there you have it, my ultimate guide to the 30 best things that you can do in Cornwall. We absolutely fell in love with this incredible county, and I really hope this video inspires you on your travels. If you do know of any other places that I didn't mention in this video, please do feel free to leave a comment down below. That way we can all share ideas and explore even more of the many things that Cornwall has to offer. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, and please subscribe if you want to see more from all over England and Europe as well. As I said, I've linked my full Cornwall playlist here for you to check out for even more inspiration for your trip. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.